This is BNT Sports Talk Show. Welcome. Thank you for joining us this Sunday evening as we welcome in a very interesting set of teams, possibly in the NBA Finals. We'll be talking about a host of other issues or topics as well. If this is your first time listening to us, like us, subscribe to us, hit the notification buttons if you usually listen to us. Do us a great favor and please hit the like button for our videos. We really appreciate it. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. B, how you feeling? How you
Oh
doing?
man,
What's
I'm
up?
I'm good, man. How are you doing, man? How's the weekend been?
Oh,
How's the week? I know.
it's been a great weekend. Spending time with family. However, it has been a very frustrating week, basketball wise. As a Laker fan, some very back and forward games. We'll get into it a little bit more. But B,
Yeah,
I'll let you get into your shout outs because you got
yeah.
some.
I got a couple shout outs here. The first one's gonna be K Custom Designs here, all the way out in Oahu, on the west side of the island here. They've made this wonderful jersey that I'm rocking here. I know the owners who are making these jerseys, so I wanted to give them a quick shout out. Love the jerseys here. This is probably one of my favorite jerseys on that we have. And then I got a shout out to Koi's Cards on TikTok. I recently just got in a break with them. I didn't do too well, but their whole setup and everything was amazing. So I got back in another one today. Just wanted to give them a quick shout out as far as what they're doing here. So if anyone who watches this video is into breaking and getting some cards, go check them out. Koi's Cards, COYS Cards on TikTok here. But my week has been amazing. There is your team has a very tall task to try to do, which I hope they don't do. But let's talk about it here.
Let's jump
Um,
into it.
the Lakers are 0-3. If no one knows this yet, they're down 0-3 in this series right now. And they've kind of really just played themselves out of this series here, just from watching it, to say the least here. So Taj, you have been very cordial about when my team was making its run to the finals and getting me caught up on everything. So let's do it here with you. Let's talk about our number one guy here, and that is LeBron. LeBron's age is looking like it's catching up to him now. In 3 games, he's scored 26 in game one, 22 in game two, and 23 in game three. But in all honesty, I'm not seeing the same killer instinct that we've seen LeBron have in the past here. So give me your insight as far as what you've seen from LeBron over these last 3 games in the conference finals.
Well, I think after the foot injury, he wasn't the same player he was during the season. That's not just this series. That's the two series before as well. The amount of burst and the way he was playing prior to that injury against the Mavericks, he just didn't have the burst, especially getting towards the rim. He's definitely lost a step at the rim. He's not dunking very much at all, and has really kind of looked like a player who's been a little bit afraid to attack the rim at times throughout all of these series, except for in given moments. And in this series, it hasn't really changed. LeBron had one big game throughout this series. That was that game 6 against the Warriors. Other than that, he hasn't really gone over 30. So it's kind of been the same deal. We've been looking to other guys to help us close out games, and he hasn't really been a part of that. This, especially in this series, that has been a huge issue. This game is the inability to close out these games. Fourth quarters have been god awful for the Lakers this series,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of, you mentioned shooting us out of the game. I think the contested three has been quite noticeable. Anybody watching any of these games will see LeBron, even if they're not a Lakers fan, see him shooting a three and know that it's not going in. I believe he shot somewhere in the neighborhood of 20% from the 3 point line the entire playoffs. He has not been good from three. So he did kind of shoot us out of game. I believe it was game two. We
Mm-hmm.
were up by 10. We were up by three going into the fourth, and he tried to get into a little bit of hero ball and really started clanking shots as he's been doing throughout the series. I really wish he would go back to some of his mid-range game, which kind of carried him throughout most of the season. But he has been ignoring that mid-range game for the most part and has relinquished himself to three-pointers or layups. And so I wish he'd take more layups. But in any case, that was that. You know, he's a player with dealing with a little bit of a foot injury. He's an older player. I think the expectation around him has lessened, even on our team. It's just that in game two, there was an opportunity to ride the hot hand of Reeves and Hachimura, but instead he decided to shoot, and I think that's where the mistake was made. I would have much rather seen Reeves take all the shots he took, especially in the fourth quarter, than to have him jack up threes. Because I think we needed to win one of those two games in Denver in order to have a chance in this series, and that did not happen.
Yeah, and and the other thing too, it's not like LeBron can't get to the rim at his age, because he's shown it very well that he could do it. But like you said, in game two, when they needed a basket, he decided to take a right wing three straight trips down the court there. When it wasn't needed at that time there, and when he was shooting it, it reminded me of my team. To say
Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson.
You need Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson. You didn't need these threes to take place right away. It wasn't like you guys were in dire need of it to go with, but just a bucket to keep the momentum going. Right. And these wasted trips down the court on empty threes turned into baskets for Denver.
Of course, easily. Yep.
So, and that's what hurt. But we talked about a lot of our X factors here last week before this series got started, and the biggest one, I think, for the Lakers right now, who's been an absolute ghost of a Western Conference Finals, D'Angelo Russell has not given the Lakers anything.
Right.
And when I mean anything, he has not even gotten to 15 points yet. In game one, he scored in a whopping 8. His best game was in game 2 with 10, and then he had an absolute dumpster fire of 3 points. To say the least there. And when you have guys like Jamal Murray, who we'll talk about in a little bit, you've got to find a way to balance that attack there. So, what's going on with D'Angelo here?
I mean,
what's going on?
Let's start with first. He joined the team a little after halfway through the season, got hurt, came back. These guys haven't had a lot of time to play together, so there is that. Versus a team like Denver, who's been playing together all year and really the past 2 years outside of KCP. So there's that. The other thing is, he's been so atrocious on defense that it's been difficult to keep him on the floor for long spurts of time. So whenever he is in the game, he's going to get an opportunity for a few shots, but after that, he's going to come out of the game and have to come back in. So he's a guy that has to have the ball in his hand a little bit in order to feel like he can shoot the ball. And because he's not getting an opportunity to play the point guard for lengths of time, it's killing him. He's not a guy, he can play off the ball, but he's a pick and roll point guard. And if you're going to get him involved in the offense, then you need to play him at that position. If you're not, then you're kind of asking them to be a spot up shooter. And he's too streaky to do that on a regular basis. And the Lakers have to hopefully learn from this if they get bounced out in this series, which more than likely they will, and keep him for next year. They need to learn that D'Lo is best when handling the ball as a point guard in a pick and roll situation, and I think he still can do that for us. It's just that we don't go to it very often.
Yeah. And, the whole D'Angelo struggle is got some talks already, and the series isn't even over yet, of possibly trying to bring Kyrie Irving back to LA. Now, we'll touch on this a little bit because we got a lot to cover with the Lakers here. But do you think with the pieces that are in place now, with the full season under their belt, would be the right thing? Because you and I both know if they want Kyrie, you're losing half of those assets brought in.
Correct.
So, of course, this conversation, even if with it being habit, is unreal because you're still in this Western Conference Finals. The fact that this chatter has already kind of surfaced is like, you guys don't trust in D'Angelo Russell. So, would you want to see, are you willing to risk that big of an asset of Kyrie to lose what you currently have instead of just building with that young core? Because that is a very, very talented young core that was brought over.
Yeah, the answer is no. I don't want to, and here's why. You're going to lose Rui Hachimura, you're going to lose Austin Reeves, and you're going to have to give up D'Lo, even though he hasn't been playing that great. I don't know if I want to give up all three of those guys just to bring in Kyrie Irving, who may only play maybe 60 to 75% of the season. So if you don't make the playoffs, you can forget it. You won't need them. And given how slim the rest of the roster would be if you added Kyrie, you're probably not going to have that great of a regular season unless Bron, AD, and Kyrie just go all out, which they haven't traditionally done. And traditionally for a team of that's older like that to have a great regular season, as the Warriors know, you're gonna need help from your young guys in order to get through the regular season. And if you don't get that, it's gonna make it tough sledding for the entire regular season. So no, I think they need to keep with what they have. Get some training. I mean, get some off season training going. Get these guys together. Get a full off season. Put them back in the gym and have them play for an entire season so that they know where one another are on the court whenever you get in late game situations, because that's the difference in this game. The Nuggets know what to do and they know where to be at all times because they played together all season. They've been doing the same thing all season. The Lakers have been trying to create an offense, create a team over the past 2.5 months. And although they've done very good and some of their upside has helped push them to where they are, when it gets to those late game situations and you have to trust other guys, they're not in a position to do so. And they don't know where everybody is going to be. And they don't know exactly what the character of their team is at this point. And I think if they can just get this team together, keep the youth, keep Braun, they're going to keep Braun and AD obviously, keep these other guys there, give it one full season, they'll be in a better position starting next year. They won't be starting off at 7th seed. Let's just say it like that.
Well, and you got to look at it as that the core that's there right now took it from a 13 seed because they got everyone when they were at it, basically their lowest
13,
point in the season.
Yeah.
And they were able to get into that 7th seed and get into the playing tournament at that point there. So I think you do see a very good core there in LA developing here. It's just that talk is going to happen. I think it's going to be very interesting if the Lakers don't even win Game 4 tomorrow night, that conversation really heats up of the potential of Kyrie coming to LA and possibly losing, like you said, guys like Rui Hachimura, who, in fact, he really blossomed in a Laker uniform, to say the least there. I think he was the first guy to really get things going here. So you don't want to, obviously, you don't want to see young talent go, but what is the cost, like you said, because we both root for teams where it's championship or bust at this point here. Yeah. So what do you want to do to keep that championship going there? So they're going to be in that same conversation here come next year after this series is over here.
Absolutely.
Let's get a little caught up on the chat here. Brooke says bye-bye. She says bye-bye LeBron. I think, he's got a tall task ahead of him, but I think it's pretty much safe to say it's not looking too good. And then the Heat are up 88-56 with under 5 minutes remaining in the third. It is now 89-58, which is
let's just say there will be another coach opening very soon, guys.
Yeah. And they just had an opening this year.
They should have never fired Udoka. Well, we'll talk about that later, but yeah.
Yeah. Drunk says, "What's up, fellas? What's up, Drunk? Good to see you here." And then Brooke says, "If you guys get merch like hats, beanies, t-shirts, etc., she would rock it." Trust me, we are working on that. There, we do have some big plans coming down the pipeline here that are currently under construction right now. So we are we're looking towards that there. So let's get back into it. Let's get back into it here. AD had a really big matchup against the Joker, and quite honestly, I don't think he's doing that bad of a job.
No, not really.
As far as it goes, he was point for point in Game 1 with 40 points, 18 in Game 2, which you always see a little bit of a drop off from AD, and then you obviously in Game 3 he came back with 28 points in that matchup there. So, how do you think he's handling this matchup with the Joker? In my eyes, I think he's doing a fairly good job with just.
I mean, to be honest with you, Joker's first game was best game was Game 1.
And he hasn't really done much after that.
And that was the game where we had an opportunity towards the end, but LeBron decided he wanted to shoot up a 3 to tie the game whenever we could just went to the basket. But that's neither here nor there at this point. I'm not really mad at what AD has been asked to do or what he's been doing. I think they've done a great job of just at least keeping Jokic in his lane. He hasn't been doing a lot. And to be quite honest, he looked pretty pedestrian in the last couple of games.
Hmm.
I'm not mad at AD. We ask a lot of AD. We want him to do more offensively. But seeing as how he's guarding the Joker and then also moving, playing free safety as well, he's asked to do a lot defensively. So I'm not mad at him, man. I think Rui Hachimura did a really good job matching up with Jokic, and I think that's something that the next team that if it's the Heat, that the Heat are going to look at and say, oh, you mean if we play a smaller, bigger guy under Jokic, it's going to cause more problems than playing a long, lanky guy, and a Draymond Green basically. Because let's be honest, folks, I hate to even say this, dude. But if somehow you got if Clay's playing well a little bit better than he is, the Nuggets are a wonderful matchup for the Warriors. They always have been because they play the exact
Yeah.
same type of basketball you guys do.
Yeah.
They just don't do it at the same pace. So if the Heat are going to move through, they're going to try to put a nice small guy under Jokic and force him to be a scorer, just like the Lakers have done. Then the Nuggets are going to have a hard time. It's not going to be the same if they're playing against a team that can defensively at least make effort at all areas of the ball. Because let's be honest, the Lakers have had a hard time getting back on defense on transition. They've been doing terrible. But anyway, getting back to AD, yes, AD I think has not played a terrible series. I'm not going to sit up here and blame him for everything.
I don't think he's the problem.
He's not
I
the
really
issue.
don't.
We just haven't been able to close out games.
Yeah, and that's the thing there. And we've been waiting for that drop off from AD because he's had games where he's dropped 30 and then came back with the whopping 10,
Right.
to say the least. There,
Yeah.
so he's hovering around almost 20 points a game generally in this series here, which is really good for the, like you said, for the task that he's gotten at hand guarding the Joker. And if you're not going to at least guard him, at least try to go point for point with him. And I think he's done a really good job of that there. Drunk says Joker was average Joker last game, but Lakers can't stop Jamal Murray from looking like Jalen Brunson. I mean, we're going to talk about Jamal Murray in a sec because this isn't the bubble Jamal Murray that we're seeing here.
Yeah.
And then Drunk says they say D'Lo got blackmailed on Darvin Ham. Give us some of that source there. Drunk, I haven't heard anything about that. Have you? T? I know he had.
I don't know anything about it.
I know he had blackmail on Swaggy P and Iggy Azalea,
Right.
but he for the Lakers.
Well, he ain't got enough to make shots, so it's neither here nor there.
No, and now that we're back on D'Lo, let me put it to you like this: he's been after the game taking shots after having poor performances. So basically, he's been in the gym the last 3 games, just taking shots. I hate these videos. You know how I feel about them. You're gonna hit wide open shots with no one in the gym when you're just getting your rhythm down. Like, have you not seen that? Like when guys are in the off season getting up shots in the gym and they're like, oh, he went 30 for 30, but that's because no one's guarding him. Like,
Yeah.
that's a professional basketball player that should be hitting these shots.
Yeah. For all you longtime Laker fans, I don't know if you remember Sasha Vujacic, but he was well known to not miss in practice. But good Lord knows he was not that same player on the court. So it practice is practice, guys. Just like Allen Iverson told us famously. I think again, I'm gonna say it again. D'Lo needs to have the ball in his hand in pick and roll situations to play as a natural point guard. If they do that, then you'll unlock D'Lo. If they want to continue to play him as just a standing shooter, then you're not gonna get much out of him. LeBron wants to get less minutes and kind of stay in the background and score his 20 points quietly. Then he can set screens for people. That's all you got to do. I don't think they just haven't been able to do anything consistently throughout this series.
No. Well, let's talk about some consistency, and it's not coming from who you would think it would come from. Austin Reeves, believe it or not, has been pretty consistent this series here. 23, 22, and 23 in 3 games, to say the least. And for a guy in a starting role, that you can't ask for anything better, especially being on the floor with AD and LeBron. So you're getting a third guy to get you around 20 points. So 60 points between 3 guys is pretty legit here. Now, the Lakers are going to have some issues with this contract coming up because you're going to have to pay the man if you want to keep him upwards of a 4-year contract with some pretty big money.
Yeah.
So, do you think, is this kind of a, who's the guy I'm missing that left the Lakers not too long ago?
Alex Caruso.
Caruso. This is another Caruso situation where you got a guy coming up and he's showing himself in a really big time moment. Is he worth keeping with the success he's having over these 3 games?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to learn from their mistakes, and the good thing is he's a restricted free agent, so he's not going to be someone that can just go out and sign with anybody. That he has to actually receive an offer sheet. Now you better believe that the Pacers, the Utah Jazz, and all the other White Mountain teams are going to be looking to sign this guy immediately. Okay, they the Pacers have long since had they love to have those type of players teams. So there are going to be teams that are out there looking for him, but I think the Lakers will match. The reason is he's a very young player. He's going to get better as time goes on. LeBron's only going to play for maybe 1 or 2 more years, or long enough so that he can go play with Bronny. Once Bronny's going to come out in the 2024 or 25 draft, maybe next year. So, and that's the end of Bron's contract, I think. Or no, I think he has 1 more year after that. So I think once this contract is up for LeBron, he's going to go play with his son, even if it's for $5. So I think you've got a couple more years of Bron, and that's it. So you got to start investing in some of your youth. And this is a great opportunity to do that. Austin Reeves has grown by leaps and bounds over the past couple of years. This season he took a huge leap forward. I think he'll continue to be a great player in this league. He's getting a huge amount of confidence in this playoffs. I can't tell you how important it is to see a young player perform on a big stage like this and be confident. It only means he'll be better next year because of the confidence that he'll get. And I don't mean that Jordan Poole confidence. I mean actual confidence. Okay. So yeah, they definitely. I think it is imperative that they keep Austin Reeves in a Laker uniform. Because he's gonna be an important piece for us going forward.
And Drunk chimes in with that. He does like Austin Reeves next year, but do you like Austin Reeves for the next 4 years? And he doesn't believe so. I think he's a good fit for LA to say.
I'll put it
because it gives LeBron a shooter until he's there.
I'll put it like this, Drunk. The Lakers, we take players and we trade them. That's what we do. We've been doing that for about 10, 15, 20 years now. Any young talent we've ever had, we've traded it. The only player that's been drafted a Laker and stayed a Laker is Kobe Bryant. Everybody else has been traded. So I like him over the next 4 years simply because he's a great player. I don't know if people know this, but the Lakers scouting staff is one of the best in the entire league. Go look at the players that we drafted over the past 5 years. We've drafted players like Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Brian Clarkson. The list goes on and on and on. Your boy.
You mean guys who are succeeding in the league right now?
Exactly, yeah. And we've drafted all of them, and we don't even have top draft picks. The highest draft pick we drafted was D'Angelo Russell, who's like back with our team now. So we've done a very good job of finding talent in different places. I didn't even mention Caruso. Or what's dude that played with New York now? Everybody loving him. I forgot his name.
You said Julius Randle.
No, there's another one. It's not the only one. Julius Randle and your boy. I can't think of his name. I gotta look it up. But while I'm looking it up, I'll figure that out. But we've done a great job with that. So I would actually like to see us keep players long enough to watch them grow because they seem to be doing very well everywhere else. So why would I not think in 4 years that this guy would be good with us whenever Julius Randle has been a pretty good player, whenever Brandon Ingram has been a very good player 4 years down the line. So yeah, let's keep him.
That Brandon Ingram trade really shocked me because you saw a lot of upside.
It didn't shock anybody. We wanted Anthony Davis, man.
I know.
It was like we needed AD. I mean, I'm not gonna sit up here and act like that wasn't the trade we were gonna make. We were gonna make that trade. That just was it was going to happen.
Let's switch to the other side of the ball here, T. Jamal Murray. My God. He is averaging 30 points a game right now.
Yeah.
for this Denver Nuggets team, and he's single handedly just out shooting the Lakers by himself, to say the least here, because he has been getting in some very very hot moments where he's just looked like unstoppable, basically pre injury Jamal Murray, to say the least here. So it's is this the coming out party for Jamal, or is there still a ceiling for him to hit, or is he actually plateaued and hit that point?
Honestly, this is as good as Jamal Murray is going to get. You know, I mean, this is his best, at least his best as we've seen him play, outside of Bubble Murray. And a lot of what's happened with him has been injuries that have sort of making him kind of take a back step each time he's gotten to this place. So the hope is that he can maintain it and become an all-star player going forward. But we haven't seen that so far. So we're really just hoping that that's the way that it'll pan out. However, as you well know, the stakes don't get lower as you go through these playoffs. They get higher. And so he's going to have to take that to a completely different level in order to do the same thing in the finals. So if he can do that, great. But him as a player up until this point has been meh. So we're hoping that this is his ascension into being a regular all-star player that can stay healthy. And if he can do that, then yeah. But the problem is he plays in the West, man. I mean, you're talking about Dame. You're talking about Devin Booker. You're talking about Steph Curry. You're talking about all these guards that play in the West. Even C.J. McCollum to some extent. Guys who have been consistent for years and years and years. This guy's just getting here. So the idea is is he going to play better than this? No, I think this is his moment. If he can play like that in the finals, like he's been against the Lakers, that's as much as you can ask for.
Yeah, I think you're gonna. This is I think it could be the plateau. I think, I don't know how far you could really get with that there. But like you said, that consistency has to maintain. That's where you develop that superstar level.
Exactly.
Is that level maintained? Now, will you have a drop off game? Absolutely. Every superstar has it. You're not gonna, but it's that consistent night in and night out. Every 3 games, you're average, you're on top of the game, and you have your one little hiccup. It's gonna happen, but how do you get through that to maintain it there? Ryan, welcome to the show here. Thanks for joining. He's got a comment. Nuggets aren't that great of a team. No bench and all ISO. Suns took them to 6 games. I think the Nuggets have a good team. They've kept this group together for a while, and even through the injury, even through Michael Porter Jr.'s bad play as well, they've maintained this group and added pieces here and there to get to the point where they're at now. It only took a matter of time to get over that mountaintop. So I think the Nuggets have done well with orchestrating this team to ride those bad waves. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They were just in the conference finals 2 years ago.
Yeah, and Ryan, I understand exactly what you're saying. There are aspects of their team that is not the greatest, and if they're not careful, that will be exposed in the next round. And one of those issues that the Nuggets have is when you have motion on the offensive end of the ball, they are god awful atrocious on defense. They're not good at protecting the rim. They don't have a shot blocker. You'll see guys like Kevin Porter, or what's his name? Michael Porter, whatever the hell his name is. Porter Jr. You'll see him. You'll see Jamal Murray. Once guys get into that paint, they just kind of throw their hands in the air, and the guy just goes gliding in for a layup. They're just not the type of guys that are going to get into you. I think Bruce Brown is the most active defender that they have on their team. But other than that, Jokic is pretty much a standing stick when he's inside the paint.
Oh my God!
And that's what kind of makes me so upset about the Lakers and the way that they decided to play this team. We had them on the road. We had them in a situation where Jokic had 3 fouls, and for whatever reason, every time our guys went to the paint, we kept pulling up or backing out of the paint or dribbling under the rim around in a circle. Nobody wanted to attack Jokic, and you have to attack Jokic. He's not a shot blocker. You have to get right to the front of the rim on Jokic. And we never, ever took, other than LeBron, the few times he wants to do it, even AD, who is kind of floating away from the rim as he's putting up these bunnies around the rim. The idea should be to go towards the rim. There's no one in front of you to block you. They don't have a true center on the defensive side of the ball, and they hide Jokic on defense because he's so bad in the pick and roll.
Oh, he's awful.
A
And
team that's been together longer that understands that will be able to take advantage of that. However, the Lakers, because they're so inconsistent with how they choose to attack offensively from from freaking game to game, play to play, possession to possession, they're doing something different. If you just
yeah,
pick one and do the same thing 100 times, the Nuggets will start to do silly things. They'll start to do weird stuff on defense that'll give you opportunities to win.
yep, yeah, I agreed on that one there. But let's talk about that supporting cast for Denver because they've helped them out in this series here. It's been very big for them. KCP has had two really good games. He had the clunker in game two, but 15 and 17 from KCP. But my guy, Michael Porter Jr., has had a pretty solid Western Conference Finals, right around 15 and 16 a game. But I think the big one that no one was really anticipating was, as you said, Brown. Not only has Brown been doing it on the defensive end, but he is also giving you almost 20 points a game here. So, when it comes down to that supporting cast, I think you're getting the best out of it now. But I'm actually looking to see how they do over these next couple of games here because Denver is in a position that they've never been in. It's closing out a team, but you're not closing out a team to move on to the next round. You're trying to close out a team to get to the NBA Finals. And we've talked about it all playoffs. When buttholes get puckered up, it's a different game outside of that there.
Right.
So, is Denver supporting cast going to be able to sustain this over the next couple of games to close out this series, or are we waiting to see that drop off where it's a consistent 6 to 7 points? Because that's what we have not seen from them.
Well, here's I'll tell you. Although the Lakers are obviously down 3 games, each one of these games have been in contention up until the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Every single one of them. It's been the fourth quarter that's been the deciding factor in which these players we're talking about have come into play and made some great plays. Now, if for any reason they go into this next game and if you're the Nuggets, you either want to win this game or you want to get blown out. To be honest, you don't want to spend a lot of they got to come in with the same intensity the Nuggets do to try to finish it up because I think that's how they've been playing the whole series. If the Lakers come in and the Lakers find a way to play better in the fourth quarter in a game where it's still highly contested and they come out with a win and then they shift it back to Denver, then we can start talking about some of those pressures to see if that team can maintain that style of shooting. But from what I've seen, they've been able to find timely shooting again and again. Every time the Lakers cut it to 2 or 3 points, someone came up with a steal or someone came up with a 3. It rather have been Michael Porter Jr. or Bruce Brown. We had one play where we up by, I think maybe up by 1, and they hit 2 3-pointers in a row from both of those guys. And that was on turnover, so a lot of that was that was self-inflicted wounds. But yeah, so can those guys continue to do it? It's tough to say because once we get into the finals, as I said, the level goes up. You're probably going to be playing against a much better team than the team you are playing right now, and the amount of pressure that the Miami Heat put on teams whenever they play them, it's going to be hard to breathe. And so when you're looking at guys that are just side role players that are used to just shooting wide open, because let's not get this confused. Those guys are shooting wide open jumpers right now. They're shooting wide open shots, okay? Now, there were a couple, I think, Michael Porter hit one where the guy handed his face, so I'll give him credit for that one. But most of the shots they're taking are on the break. They're getting on the break. They're getting wide open. Once you start getting hands in your face, once guys start getting into you, start getting elbows in the stomach, guys start getting all up under you, will you be able to still maintain that? Will those opportunities still be there? Or will you do what the Celtics have done? The Celtics have been grinded out of this series. Grinded out of the... Literally. And they've got better role players than anybody else in the league at this point. So it remains to be seen. So we'll see how it pans out. But there's... Here, they gotta for them. They should go ahead and sweep. They don't want to go back to Denver and be in some weird close game in the fourth quarter against the Lakers. That's the last thing that they want.
Well, look, it's obviously it's going to take a lot. LeBron and AD are basically going to have to play every single minute of these last 4 games to give them a chance here. With that being said, before we get into our final predictions here, what were you going to say there?
Well, I mean, LeBron just has to stop taking those threes. I
Yeah.
mean, hey, I'm not that mad at AD, although he's missed some close layups. But we're talking about a LeBron that was throwing dunks out of bounds, missing layups off the front of the rim, missed a layup with a chance for us to cut it to one in the first game. Excuse me, the second game. I mean, we're talking about some really
Yep.
suspect plays, and this is why I'm talking about the mental aspect of the game, because it feels to me like the Lakers mentally are in a place to where they don't think they can beat the Nuggets, and that's why I don't know if they'll be able to win this next game. They're not playing like a team that's going after it. They're playing like a team that's unsure of if they can get over the hump.
All right. And let's talk about that. The chance. Teams going into a 7-game series down
Dude,
0-3 have not even
this ain't even the same.
A series. Now, obviously, this is not the
No.
same. It's a little different as the games have been close, as Tia said, up until the fourth when the Lakers have absolutely shit their diaper, pissed the bed, however you want to call it. They've been doing it here.
Thanks, B.
So,
Thanks for
T,
that. Go ahead.
my team had did that all year on the road, so I know the feeling here. Our diapers were so heavy, we had to take them off and change them after every road trip. So let me put it to you like this: no team has won a game or won a series. LeBron has come back from a 3-1. Can he get his team to come back from a 3-0 deficit?
You know, of course, as a fan, there's a part of me that wants to say yes because of how close the first two games were, and it wasn't.
Give me a real fan. I need a real fan.
It wasn't like
man.
Denver had completely just destroyed us in the first couple of games. We were right there. We made mistakes. They had guys get hot at the right time. Everything has been going their way.
Yeah.
I think that the Lakers have a great opportunity. It all starts with the next game on Monday, because I think they have to get over the mental aspect of this, which is we can actually beat this team. As you know, it's just like playing against a older sibling. They start beating you 2-3 times. That fourth time, you're like, you know what? I give up. I'm done. You know what I mean? Because you don't feel like you can win. So if the Lakers can find a way to win this game and shift and just play with house money and shift it back to Denver and say, hey, it looks like we're going to lose anyway, but we're going to give it our best try and just have fun and play. There's a chance that some of those baskets won't fall. There's a chance that Jamal Murray will not average 30 points the entire playoff series if it gets extended. So yeah, I think of course I feel like they have a chance. I'm a fan, but ultimately they have to get over the mental aspect of it. Of we can actually beat this team, and we're gonna do it one way, and this is what we're gonna do and rely on the whole time. Because this whole time they've been trying to play this, I'm smarter than you stuff like they did against Steve Kerr. And you don't have to. The Nuggets aren't gonna make any adjustments.
No.
The Nuggets don't need to make adjustments. They're just gonna play the same way every time. So if you just find something and do the same thing over and over again, force them to change what they do, force them to do something different, then you're there. They did a great job against Jokic. They've kept him quiet. It's just a matter of being better offensively and not making and getting guys to knock down open shots and stop being so pathetic when you get inside the paint. The paint is open all day, folks. Against the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are not blocking your shot. It could literally, like you talked about them being in a gym by themselves. It's literally like driving into the paint and shooting a floater by yourself every time you play against the Nuggets off a screen and roll. Because they're not defending you. They're so worried about AD. They're backing up into him. Just go ahead and be confident with the shot and take it. And so that's what the Lakers need to do. Don't overthink it. Just play.
All right. So, Drunk. So, are you going to say that the Lakers have a puncher's chance to get to 7 games?
Well, let's see. We got some comments from Drunk Domi. We got the last game. Joker was off. Last game was Joker off game, so Lakers out of there tomorrow. I would say the last 2 games were Joker off games. To be honest with you, he didn't play that great in the second game either. If Ron don't fall down and roll around every time he gets touched, y'all. I mean, I'm glad you bring that up because the Lakers have every time the Lakers turn to look at the referees, they're giving up a fast break bucket. Seriously, it drives me nuts. It's like, hey man, no, not a man. Get your behind back on defense because you're about to give up an easy basket, and they do it time and time and time again. LeBron stays on the ground, and the other time AD fell down. Dennis Schroeder, they're all falling down. Get up. Land on your feet and get back on defense.
Was that elementary school game everyone played? What was it?
Which one?
Ring Around the
Yeah,
Rosie or
yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. Like the Lakers, Lakers are playing Ring Around the Rosie
Yeah, they're
offense.
just falling
Waiting for
down and not getting back on defense. It's terrible. And then Junk chimes in with Mo Bamba, Malik Beasley, Troy Brown. I don't know if you'll see any of those players. You might see Troy Brown. I think he might be able to play some minutes because he can play defense really well and can knock down an open shot. I would like to see them go to him if D'Lo comes out and drops another, they can't shoot. I would like to see Troy Brown in the lineup. The only thing is you got to have somebody play point guard, so you're going to have to either have Schroeder or you're going to have to ask Reeves to run the show. Mo Bamba not get. I don't think Mo Bamba's getting any minutes, man. He can't guard anything.
Yeah. So out of those three teams, which one of them could see action in Game 4?
Troy Brown. Troy Brown. Yeah, Malik Beasley hasn't been great defensively, and he hasn't hit a shot most of the season.
Oh, speaking of things that aren't great, Boston may not even score 90 points. Good God.
Boy, wow. Which and then which one must see action? Okay, yeah. So we answered that. All right, go ahead, B. My bad.
So I'm gonna say, I don't think the Nuggets win it tomorrow night. It's very hard, one, to close the team out. You're doing it on the road. You've got to do it to put your spot, to claim your first spot at the NBA Finals. And when's the last time the Nuggets were in the NBA Finals?
Never. No.
Never. So this is uncharted territory for this entire organization here. I think you get a first quarter effort, and you see where this game's at that point. If you're nowhere near it, like the Lakers did against the Warriors when they were blowouts, you sit everyone. It's been an every other day series. Why not just give your guys the rest? Let your bench team kind of develop themselves a little more. Because here's the thing. The Lakers are going to have to play all their starters. They don't have a choice. Yeah. Unless the game's a 20-point blowout, you've got to run your players through that entire game there. So this will give the bench an opportunity to get a little more playing time against the Lakers' number one squad to earn a little more of that time. But honestly, this is a gentleman's sweep. The Lakers do get that one game in at home tomorrow night. But come Wednesday? This series is officially over on Wednesday. I had the Nuggets in 7. You have the Lakers in 6.
Yeah, we're both probably wrong.
To be wrong on this one here.
But you know what we were right on, and that's
the Miami Heat. Woo!
All right, so let's talk about this, and I just want to start with the pure insanity that is the Miami Heat, who have, without two of their better players in Victor Oladipo and Tyler Hero, ran off and beat the number 1 seed and then turn around and beat the next runner-up shortly thereafter, making quick work of the Knicks along the way. They have torn through the best teams in the East, and you can't even argue it because the Celtics and the Celtics and the Bucks were jockeying for 1 and 2 pretty much the entire second half of the season. They beat both of them. And you could say that Giannis was injured, but he came back for 2 games and it didn't do much. I don't know. This team scares me. We talked about how scary this team is because they're just, and this is what I love about this team. I talked about the Lakers and not knowing what to do and playing different offensive sets, one play to the next and switching things up and all this other garbage. Well, you know what the Heat do? They devise a game plan with one of the best coaches in the league, and they all just do their job. Everyone just does their job. They're literally like the Detroit Pistons of 2004, where there isn't necessarily a superstar, but they're just a bunch of guys that have one focus. Everybody knows what they should do, where they should be, and they do it so consistently and play so hard that it's difficult to play against them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Drunk with probably the funniest comment of the night. Celtics got the all-white lineup out there in the fourth quarter. Mazzulla is a wild.
As I mentioned, there will be a coach opening very soon.
Pat Riley's a 3,000-year-old wizard, and nobody will convince me otherwise.
You don't have to. Let me not remind you of Pat Riley's beginnings. Pat Riley's a Laker. He was a Laker player, and he was a Laker a coach, Laker coach with the Showtime Lakers back in the 80s. So, Pat Riley is a heck of a dude. He's a hard-nosed coach. Some guys didn't even want to play for him, but he's the type of guy that demands a certain style of player on a team. And I think whenever you have that culture starting at the top, the guys that you draft bring in, they mirror Pat Riley and what he wants to do.
Eh, why is not Udonis Haslam in this game for God's sakes? It is 121-94 right now.
It
That
should
man
be.
has been taking the bench spot all year. You better get your old butt out there, but I feel like he would get a technical real quick. You know how old people, you know how old people, their temper tantrums just spike up right away.
Yeah.
Like he would get shoved and get a technical real quickly here. But look, the Heat are. This is the weirdest yet scariest A seed you could possibly ask for here. And Jimmy Butler, out of the four teams in these playoffs here that are in these finals, dude, he's the most exciting guy to watch. I'm sorry. If I had to root for a guy to get a ring right now, out of all the guys that don't have
Yeah.
one, Jimmy Butler, because he's never changed the way he's played with his time in Minnesota, with his time in Philadelphia, and obviously now with the Heat. He has always been a guy who's given every organization every single thing. I don't know. Have you heard the story about him in Minnesota where everyone was practicing and he was in the weight room and then they finally said
Yeah,
scrimmage?
I know the story. Yeah.
And then he said, I'm not playing with the first team. I'm
The
going to play with the second team and absolutely beat the
Yeah.
brakes off of the
Yep.
first team there. When you get a guy like that who could drive a team the way they do, look at what the Heat are doing with a lot of these undrafted players that they have on the team. There's just a sense about them that they're giving it their all. But you see your leader playing every single minute, playing when he's hurt, going out there and giving it all. That's inspiring to these other guys on the Heat team to go out there and do it here. And honestly, Jimmy Butler finally had an off game tonight, but the cast around him absolutely just went berserks today here. So
Look, man,
you know,
it's he's the guy that they've been giving the ball to down the stretch to get those easy buckets and get those game-winning shots, to get those take-the-lead shots, those go-ahead shot. He's been the guy. And he's continued to play on both sides of the ball with the same amount of intensity. And there isn't a better two-way player remaining in this entire playoffs than Jimmy Butler. Jimmy's averaging 31 points this series. Okay? Tatum's doing his best and that's actually averaging 32. But the difference is how hard these guys play on defense. And the fact that, it's tough to know where the points are going to come from. Bam has been doing pretty good. Caleb Martin, Max Strauss, whoever the heck that is, and Gabe Vincent have been, these guys have been handling business. Duncan Robinson coming in off the bench, has been okay. And Kyle Lowry hasn't really done much this entire series, even though he would think
he hasn't had to.
He doesn't have to do
Hasn't had
anything.
to.
And somehow Cody Zeller still plays in the NBA. Am I the only person surprised by that?
And why is he wearing a mask when he don't see the court
Yeah.
at all? Are we
And
shocked
didn't
by
Cody
this
Zeller
as
used to have hair? Oh man.
That's right. Jimmy Butler was also on the Bulls as well.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that to our attention, Drunk. Drunk says best player on the team taking charges. Again, you follow your leader, and when you see your leader doing the dirty work, you're gonna want to say, "Dude, I gotta go to." You can't slack at that point. You have to follow suit because if that's what it's gonna take to win, you have to make sure that you follow your leader's path there, and that's what Miami's doing at this time right now. Drunk does say if anybody can come back from a 3-0 deficit, it's the Celtics. I'm sorry, the Celtics have not shown me absolutely anything to want to do it. And here's the main reason why. Their best player, which is Jason Tatum, has scored more points than we have in the fourth quarter of both games, 1 and 2. And make it number 3 as well because he didn't play this fourth quarter, 0. The man has been a dinosaur in the fourth quarter here. And in game 2, when they needed him, nowhere to be found. And I'm not even counting free throws. All right, that doesn't matter. You're not getting buckets, to say the least here. You're not impacting the game. You can't impact the game on the free throw line unless your name is Shaquille O'Neal. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest disappointment, and I think you wrote this down, has been, they got a lot of contributions from, guys, Al Horford, who is been a no-show this entire series for the most part.
No double digits from
Not
Al
at
Horford.
all. Marcus Smart has been, he hasn't played that well. And remember how well Grant Williams played in the playoffs last year? Well, he's only
Yeah.
averaged 9 points a game. So you're just not getting the same amount of production from these guys that you did last year. Derek White, that's another guy. Jaylen Brown, even really, usually Jaylen Brown has one game where he just shows up and just balls out. And he just hasn't been able to really get it going. He's averaged 19 for the series. Is this stat right? He's shooting 50% from the free throw line. He shot 38% from the field, so he's been having an awful series. And so if you're not if your star main guy isn't going to show up, who Jaylen Brown is, then it's just not going to work. And no, he's not going to the Warriors. Let's shut that down now. Jaylen Brown's staying with the Celtics before Brian starts.
I'm not even worried about that because here's the thing. So there was a video. Giannis Antetokounmpo went live, and someone made a comment that says, "Hey, come to the Warriors," and he started giggling and was like, "Well, again,
come on, don't no."
I'm not buying.
I'm not going through that KD team again. I don't want to live through that again. I really don't. When you guys signed KD, I was like, I'm not even watching the NBA this season. What for? What?
If that is the case, God. I would say thank you, Jordan Poole. Thank you, Andrew Wiggins. Thank you, Kuminga. I would still try to hold on. We're trading everyone. We're trading everyone to get this guy here. And I swear Joe Lacob would not care because he would write a check that would bounce real quickly next year. Not worried about this coming year. He's worried about next year. But, dude, I love the little back and forth Grant Williams and Jimmy Butler had, but Grant Williams had no business yapping his mouth to Jimmy Butler.
It's a mistake.
You don't get the best player going. If he is struggling, you let him struggle. But the last thing you need to do is get in his ear. And I swear to God, once that happened, Jimmy Butler turned into a whole different animal here. And kudos for Grant Williams to try to stand his ground in that yelling argument, but he lost to Jimmy Butler in that one there. You don't do that to the best players. Let them struggle. Just stay quiet. You need a win. You're down 1-0 at home. And now you find yourself down 2-0. Where Jaylen Brown had to say next question because he damn well knew Grant Williams got Jimmy Butler going in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And I think it's a mistake because we all know, ask the Timberwolves, if you get this guy riled up, he can do some amazing things. So Michael Jordan's illegitimate son has risen his head once again to show the world that, every once in a while, he can step up and make things happen. So I marvel at how well Jimmy has played. He's been the consummate professional throughout most of his career. He's a tough kid that a lot of teams didn't like because he's a little tough and outspoken, and he rides his teammates pretty hard. So a lot of guys don't like that in this day and age where everybody's soft as Charmin. But good for Jimmy.
You know who used to be on their teammates like that? Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan. There's some guys now that are hard like that. I mean, Chris Paul's one of them. Every big that plays with Chris Paul hates him.
Well, do you remember when he yelled at DeAndre Jordan for not going straight back? But can you blame him though?
No.
Like that's the thing.
You can't blame him. He's the point guard. As a big, you got to follow the point guard because how else are you going to get the dang ball? That's how it goes. Yeah. So. Yeah, man. Jason Tatum, is a great player. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know if this Celtic team can come back from this, just because they got destroyed this game. Like it wasn't even close. Like it wasn't even a point where it was legitimately a competition. And so they look like a team that and maybe the reports are true. There have been a lot of reports about Mazzulla and the fact that he hasn't been doing things that the players have liked. And if that's the case, then this team's mentally checked out. It's over. If we're this late in the season and the stakes are this high and you're still trying to figure out if you like your coach or not, you might as well go ahead and go home.
You're supposed to figure that out during training.
Exactly. And so
not in this.
He's getting fired, dude. He's going to get fired, and they're going to call Nick Nurse, or one of these guys. They're going to say, hey, Nick Nurse, come and coach the Celtics for us.
I think they call Monty Williams.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's another good name. Well, there's some good big name coaches that got fired. So either one of those guys, I think, will be a great fit. Monty Williams might be better because he's played with some superstars and has done well with managing, high profile players. So, well, I guess except for KD, who I guess decided KD is like, never mind. But so yeah, no, I think that the Celtics will have a new coach next year. They might try to do some stuff to make their backcourt a little bit stronger. Grant Williams had a good showing, but Horford is getting a little old. They might have to get a little younger at the four and the
gotta take old Horford out to the back of the shed.
Wow. Take him out. Unfortunately.
So I had the Heat in 6. You had the Heat in 7. Yeah. That's not happening. This series ends on Tuesday. Yeah. The Heat stealing 2 games on the road.
That's the difference. I mean, come on. Seriously?
And now all they have to do is win 2 out of the 3 games at home. You're asking a very tall task from the Celtics. So I really don't see the Celtics even putting up a legitimate fight. Dude, they look defeated today here. And that was and Jimmy Butler had nothing to do with it. So you get a guy who's playing the way he does in game 4 and didn't have an impact in game 3, it's over. Yeah. It's over. Real quick, I was gonna bring something up that was hella funny. Oh, dude, Kevin Harlan is the most out-of-pocket announcer in game 2. Did you hear what he said before Jimmy Butler and Grant Williams got into it?
No, I didn't hear that part. What did he say?
Kevin Harlan sat there and went, look at Jimmy Butler grinding, gyrating, penetrating in the paint, and then getting in the face of Grant Williams. I was like, yo, dude, I thought I was watching a Showtime After Hours at like midnight.
Hey, my man was getting excited about basketball. What you want him to do?
No, that's great. I don't mind him getting excited about it, but I was like, if I was Reggie Miller, I'd have looked over and been like, dude, what the...
Gyrating? We're gyrating
he
now?
said he was gyrating down the lane. Like, what the hell does that
I don't know. I don't know what that means, to be quite honest. I don't think I want to know. I thought we were playing basketball, folks.
Let me ask you this. You're a fan of you watch Inside the NBA on TNT, correct?
Yeah.
How would you feel if they hosted, or they just did the pregame for the NBA Finals? And my honesty, dude, I've watched ESPN. I've watched the ESPN pregame live with the NBA countdown, and you watch Inside the NBA. Dude, I'm watching Inside the NBA all day, man.
Because they think about who they're putting out there: Stephen A. Smith, and I don't even know who else. A few years ago it was Rachel Nichols, and I mean, it's not anybody that's gonna really make me laugh or make me feel excited. They always put a player on there. What player are they gonna do? Kendrick Perkins or something? I don't know.
Oh my God, Richard Jefferson.
There you go. I mean, it's just not. Jesus. It's not interesting because it's not funny, and I think in a league that is pretty much supported heavily by its players. Put TNT up there, man. Put those guys up there. Let them talk about the game from their perspective. Let's get some good banter back and forth that's not so scripted that it sounds like somebody has a stick up their butt, and have fun with it, because that's what it sounds like. I don't want to hear Molly Quorum or whoever it is try to ask questions to I don't know.
Mike Greenberg is the worst.
Yeah, I don't like him either. They're all boring. Freaking boring.
But yeah, man, I
get Ernie Johnson. Get Ernie Johnson in there.
Right, dude. I'm sorry if you guys don't watch the show. Just watch it. It's worth every minute of that time there. Real quick, I wanted to get into a little bit of a baseball chatter here because my Giants have done something outrageous. We talk about young talent all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like, young talent that sparks the team. Over the last 3 weeks, the Giants have decided that every week we're going to bring up a new player. So 3 weeks ago, they brought up a guy named Casey Schmidt, who's absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. He's been really fun to watch, to say the least here. It looks like he's going to take over as the next face of the shortstop for the Giants. Then this guy named Patrick Bailey got brought up last week. And then a pitcher got brought up this week. They've literally had 3 MLB debuts here, which is great because as Giants fans, we go trading for these busted ass veterans, to stay under 500, and we don't get to see these prospects take place. So the fact that we've gotten a chance to see our prospects is just is heartwarming. I know we don't get a chance to talk a lot about baseball because, obviously the NBA playoffs are very, very dominating right now. But I just wanted to put it out there for all my Giants fans. Just the future does look bright, but it's only 3 weeks. So let's hold off on that just for the time being. Give it a couple months, and let's see if it turns around. Because, in professional sports, young talent will always have a good start. It's when you make the adjustment to find out your flaws, and how do you make the adjustments after that. So I'm hoping these guys can hopefully keep the momentum riding. But damn, they're still under 500.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just get to 500. There's a lot of games left to play. If you can get to 500, you never know. You never know.
And baseball, y'all still haven't drawn people into the stands, cutting the game 2.5 hours short, man. Like, God, miss me with all of that, dude. I still hate that damn thing. We gotta make eye contact with each other before I can throw the ball. That's creepy, man. Take me to dinner first, at least.
Right. Oh man.
Anything for you, T? Because I think. I think if these series come up quickly, I think we're going to have an early NBA Finals preview show.
Yeah, we'll have an early NBA Finals preview show for sure. We're gonna have a matchup, which it looks like, at least from what it looks like, the matchup will be between the Heat and the Denver Nuggets. Will not be something Adam Silver will be happy about, but should be a good game all the way through.
Do not sleep on it.
Don't sleep on it.
Do not sleep on that.
I'll be watching.
Please don't.
I'll be watching because I don't know what's going to happen. There's going to be a new champion, and there's even a chance for a team to win a championship for the first time in their entire franchise's history in the Denver Nuggets. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this next game and seeing if the Lakers have any life left. But they're both they and the Celtics are kind of look like they're ready to go to Cancun. So we'll see how it goes.
I think Steph Curry and them are still down in Cancun, so you guys can
I know Clay down there.
Of course, I took his boat down there. Of course, he's still down there right now.
Captain hat, telling like 3 or 4 different hot women telling them a sob story about how he thought he could have played better. Good for him. Anyway,
don't we all wish we could have played better at that time? You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, my team be playing the Warriors or be playing the Nuggets right now.
You guys would have had a lot more fun playing the Nuggets.
well, of course, because then we don't have to. Because Draymond would have been guarding Joker. He would have kicked him at least 4 or 5 times.
I would have elbowed the crap out of him.
Kevon Looney would have had to pull his inhaler out because of the altitude in Denver. Yep. He already looked tired on the court. He would have been sucking more air to say the least.
Standing in a pool of his own sweat, shooting his first free throw. Yeah, exactly.
All right, take us out, T.
All right, folks. Well, I think that does it for us. We will be back next Sunday at 6:30 on time, hopefully, with more talk. Well, actually, we'll be talking about hopefully the first game of the NBA Finals at that point, unless somehow some magic happens and one of these two teams, the Lakers and Celtics, find a way to extend this thing to 7. In which case, we'll be talking about a heck of a game 7 or a heck of a comeback for some team. But until then, we really appreciate you guys joining us. Drunk, thanks for chiming in. Who else we had on? Ryan, thanks for chiming in. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like. Brooke. Rachel, of course. Thank you, Rachel. In Gambling Highs and Lows.
Where's JJ at? Where's JJ? Where's my JJ go?
It's okay, JJ. I'll hold it down for you. I know this wasn't the day to try to hop on and talk about the Lakers. This is not fun. But come join us even still the next time around. Again, like the video. If you're a subscriber, please like our videos. That's going to help put our videos to the forefront, so we appreciate that. And of course, if this is your first time listening to us, then go ahead, subscribe, hit that notification button. We very much appreciate it. All right, y'all.
Yes, sir.
We out. That's it for us. You have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Until next time. Peace.
Bye.